Honey, Lizzo is trying to assemble the first Avenger.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more juice to her endgame.
Not in this house. Auntie Maxine and...
Shut your mouth!
Auntie Maxine and...
I strike a nerve.
Listen. Okay. Auntie Maxine and Auntie Val Demings, honey. Black women have had enough. And E! News, Nina Parker is making history.
And we'll let you know why that's a plus.
All that and so much more on this week's Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. All right, welcome. It's another Friday morning. And of course, Mocha in the Morning is here, adding a little flavor to your morning blend. I am your host, Miss Keisha Boyd. And of course, I couldn't do this without my officially Jorge, my co-host. Hey, babe.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are full of flavor like I am.
Honey, I am full of flavor. Excited about the weekend.
Yes.
I cannot wait, honey.
I know, quite an eventful week. And, oh man, on this episode, we have a bold roast with Gwen Brewington, also known as Sister Lady Girl. She's a fabulous blogger, and she has her second act summit this weekend. So that's going to be like later on in the show.
Well, amazing. I am excited about the weekend. I am spending some quality time in Miami.
Ooh, girl.
With my best friend Latoya for her birthday. Happy birthday,
boo. So they call Miami the pineapple.
The pineapple?
Yes, you know how New York is like the Big Apple?
Big Apple.
Well, Miami is like
the pineapple. I get it.
You're going to get you some juicy pineapple.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to spending time, my goddaughter, her mom, everybody, and we're going to do some jet skis and some slingshots and just do some fun stuff. Absolutely.
Right? Because we all deserve to do some like fun stuff. I mean, not that our show isn't fun.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This
but
is
like,
up to my fun.
Yeah, with like Rona and like, just being so very limited, it'll be nice to do some extra things.
Absolutely. But before we get into the show, of course, we gotta get a little coffee. We'll be right back. You know why we gotta do all that?
It's hot.
Wow.
They can't hear that, right? They can't
cut, producer. Just cut. And my son's coming.
Cut.
Mocha in the Morning is brought to you in part by the Portico Cafe, where conversation, connection, and community create change.
All right, Mocha Marvels, we are back to Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. I'm your host once again, Miss Keisha Boyd, and of course, officially Jorge is here with this week's Steamer. What you got, babe?
It's that time. Get your coffee cups ready to start sipping, because I'm bringing you everything in Black Hollywood and entertainment, starting with wedding bells for Lil Wayne.
Child, who married Lil Wayne?
Love B. Scott is reporting that Lil Wayne got married to his on-again, off-again girlfriend. Her name is Denise Bidot. And well, I mean, they posted a picture on Twitter. They're like frolicking in the sand. Now, Lil Wayne was just already like engaged to somebody else before her, and then they broke it off. Then he's got like his 21-year-old daughter with LaToya, and so it was quite a surprise to us.
My grandma said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Right. So I guess it's very congratulations to the newlyweds.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a Lil Wayne song. Anyway, moving right along. Listen to this. Okay, so rest in peace, our king, Kobe Bryant. Well, Vanessa just like told Nike, it's a wrap. We're bouncing. We're out. Like, she's totally not renewing their contract with Nike.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you why. Well, you can read this story on ESPN.com. Basically, what she's saying is like after Kobe Bryant's death, they have made it very difficult to make a lot of his items, products, and all that stuff available to the fans. And she's like, first of all, my husband's like products sell more than anybody else's products, and she was really concerned that a lot of his products were not available to his fans that were children. So she was like, she's not signing on the dotted line. So they were like, just do it. And she said,
no.
She did not.
Listen, I ain't mad at Vanessa.
So
do what you gotta do.
I don't know. I kind of think there's gonna be. I mean, I'm sure this story is gonna be to be continued. Because she doesn't need to sign any contracts for anything, but she has. They have all these other daughters. So we're talking about legacy. So there might be something else coming along the way. All right. Speaking of along the way. We have another first. We're like always telling everyone about the first on this show. And Nina Parker is making history with the very first Black-owned line for women plus sizes.
For me, honey. For me and me. Hey. You see these arms? That is not muscle. That's for the plus size ladies. Ow.
But I'm not trying to live in a world with any minuses, so I'm all for the plus.
Hey, it's warmer here.
So congratulations to her. What happened is after attending award ceremonies and things like that, she pretty much styled herself and designed garments for herself, and so now you can buy her stuff at Macy's.
Yes, honey. I'm the first one in line, maybe the 100th, but I'm going to be in line to get me a piece. Okay.
Right.
Support. You got to support.
And another first situation, Mickey Guyton becomes the very first Black woman.
I love her.
Right? Well, she has become the very first Black woman to host the Academy of Country Music Awards. How about that, y'all?
That's amazing. Very timely.
Good.
Very timely. Have you heard her song?
Well, yeah, and she did a duet with Keith Urban.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and so it kind of like one thing led to the other, and that's just like boom. She's got.
But her song the song that was Grammy nominated was a political song, like step into my black shoes type of song, country song.
Yeah, and sometimes country music, Black, that's still like some kind of. There's still a lot of roads to go in that particular side of the music industry. So good for her. Come on, girl.
Yes.
Get your swing on in front of everybody and giddy up.
Giddy up.
Ooh, okay. So I cannot wait to tell you about this story.
Do tell.
Well, I love superheroes, but apparently so does somebody else. Ooh. So the Truth Hurts singer, the one and only Lizzo, was sliding into Captain America's DMs.
Okay.
Hashtag Chris Evans. Well, apparently she's got a major crush. And she's like, that is like her man, like her perfect man, right? Okay. Whether it's Captain America or Chris Evans, they're like the same person. But what happened was she was drinking a lot of juice and snuck them DMs in, and he responded.
What did he say? Do you know?
He was like, ain't no shame and a little drug DMing. And he did the same thing, but he didn't send her any DMs. He just pretty much posted pictures when he wasn't wearing a shield. How about that? That's his statement.
That's why she's trying to get down with the get down.
Yeah, the cap wasn't on his head, and he showed everybody. And so, come on, Lizzo. Could you imagine?
Hey,
I think they should go on it. I think they should totally go on a date and just break the internet on purpose.
Yes. All of her goodness, honey. Yes. I love it. And then, he might be taken, but he can still go on a little date.
Right? And then we can find out what kind of superpowers she has.
Ooh. I mean, we ain't trying to hurt nobody. Moving on. What else you got? Because we're going to go in a rabbit hole.
And those are all your steamers. Everything that's happening in Black Hollywood and entertainment. I need a sip after that.
Amazing. Sip that hustle, baby. Listen, we'll be right back with Piping Hot on Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend.
Mocha Morning.
I was trying to say, go get some friends. Tag some friends so they'll come on into the Piping Hot. We'll be back. Hold tight. Let me sip some hustle. Maybe I need to sip me some hustle.
Right. Mocha Morning Show. Assemble.
Right. Oh gosh. All right, Mocha Marvels. We are back with Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. I am your host, Miss Keisha Boyd. And of course, it is that time for Piping Hot. And of course, I could not do this without my Mocha Marvel sisters, who are looking very good, if I do say so myself. All right, so let me introduce my ladies. First up, Miss Kenya Woodard.
Happy Friday, Mocha Marvels. So glad to see all my beautiful co-contributors here. Everyone wearing their pops of purple for Prince.
Yes. Come on now. Y'all see the lips. Mm-hmm. All right, Miss Liz Everett.
Happy Friday, Mocha Marvels. It's time to shine.
Amazing.
Let's get
it. Our guest contributor, who's also our producer, Miss Shalette Davis.
Good morning, Mocha Marvels. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Listen, it's been a lot happening this week. I mean, a lot. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and start off with what is, apparently the biggest story ever right now, which is the Derek Chauvin case, where he was found guilty on all three counts. And my goodness, we couldn't be happier with the verdict. But the crazy thing is, we were still on pins and needles, right? Because it's like, we've been here before. It's pretty much an all-white jury, and I don't know. So I am glad to see that this verdict did come out the way that it did. Kenya, obviously there are so many different factors happening with this case. It was a guilty verdict. 8 weeks we'll get the sentencing. What else is going on with this case remaining?
Yeah, really, it's the sentencing that we're kind of holding our breath on now. I kind of hate how this whole entire episode has just been so anxiety inducing, right? We went through the trial and saw the defense make these absurd accusations as to how George Floyd could have died other than at the hand of Chauvin. And then we had the verdict come down, but we had to wait like 2 hours before we actually heard. And now we have some time before we get the sentencing. And that in itself is a nail biter, because the judge he has a good range of time that he can hand down to Chauvin. My understanding is that 40 years max on a couple of those charges, but the judge can decide however he wishes, how he's going to move with that. So again, we're waiting and we're kind of just on pins and needles. But at the same time, as you mentioned earlier, we're, glad to see some resolution to this that brings some kind of justice to the situation and to Mr. Floyd and his family. And, I'm just waiting to see if the judge is going to follow through with that with the sentencing.
Now, what happens, Shalette, with the other officers?
Well, the other officers, at this point especially, they're really trying to distance themselves from the whole case. One officer, I understand, was it was like his fourth day on duty, and he was the one person who was like, shouldn't we like turn him on his side? And he actually got in the ambulance after he, was totally unresponsive and tried to administer CPR to him. So he's trying to separate himself completely, because he's just like, look, total rookie cop. He was, really trying to save a life that day. The other officer, he didn't put his hands on George Floyd, and he wasn't involved in the murder. So he's going to get some time, I believe, but as an accessory, because at this point it is a murder case. But the one thing I just want to say about the whole deal is, we should have never been in a position to even think that this guy was going to get off, and everyone was on pins and needles, and it gives us a measure of hope. There's a lot of disappointment that can come out of the sentencing in this case. I believe Derek Chauvin was definitely in shock, like his face, he was just like staring off into space.
I'm white.
Yeah.
And I'm a cop. And I'm what? And I'm
right.
What? Guilty.
Yeah. And the smiling, he didn't smile a lot, but whenever he did show his face, they did, he was smiling at the judge and stuff like that, trying to be nice. So I still unfortunately, I still feel like I'm on pins and needles about this case, because there's a lot of injustice that could still be served for, not for Derek Chauvin, but for the family of George Floyd and, greater American population.
Now, Liz, apart from the Chauvin case and the guilty verdict, we didn't even get a chance to really rejoice in that before there's another murder at the hands of another cop, right? So in Columbus, Ohio, there was a 15-year-old girl Vanessa Bryant, who called the police because I think there was a fight at her house, and she called the police for help, and somehow she is now deceased. Help me understand.
Help me understand. Help all of us understand. Honestly, activist Sean King posted a video today of her doing a hair tutorial showing how she styled her hair. And you realize this is a baby, a little girl who needed help. And as many people as can say, people keep trying to distract from the narrative, right? Of this isn't really a problem. And that's why they're trying to say, she did this and he did that. And you know what I mean? There is a problem with policing in our country.
Absolutely.
And I think that really comes out, whether this little girl was running out with a knife or without, you know what I mean? She's the one that called the police and winds up dead. And in one of the videos that I saw, the police officer off to the side says audibly, "Blue Lives Matter."
Wow.
to the whole crowd of Black people. And I just think people have not been called on their stuff, and they're not realizing that we're not in the same archaic times, and you're going to continue to get called out on this stuff, and it's going to continue to be this way. And I feel devastated for this young lady, for her family, in that she thought she was calling someone to help her.
Absolutely. And it's so sad. It really is sad. You have this 15-year-old, you have this 13-year-old boy, I believe in Ohio as well, that was shot and killed. And all I'm saying is there's several body parts that you can aim for that will sit a person down Why would you shoot them someplace that could kill them? Shoot them in the leg, anywhere other than someplace that's vital. That's a whole nother situation. And it's just a sad situation. But let's talk about, before we move on from this topic, and I know it's taking some time, producer, but we've got to talk about this anti-rioting law. Kenya, what in all of the hell? That? What is the government? I was like, what? Now this, I'm just like, well, what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you have a much more tame reaction than I had when I first even saw this, even come up. So remember, this is in response to the protests that flared up after George Floyd was killed last summer. Black Lives Matters took to the streets all over the country. And so even here in Florida, there were protests and marches, things going on. Were there some instances of looting and some rioting type activity? Okay, I'll give you that. But the response from the governor has been to, hey, let's make it so that we can say if there are 3 or more people and they're peacefully protesting and you feel threatened, feel free to just, do whatever you need to do to move them out of your way. My gosh, we can't even peacefully protest now. It's basically what this law is saying. This law is pretty much saying that if there is a group of people gathered who are protesting, but someone comes along and they feel threatened by their protesting, peaceful, whatever, they have a right to do what they need to do to ensure their safety.
You know what? I just don't have any words.
Yeah,
I just don't have any words.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is in response to situations like what happened to George Floyd. And instead of us, and when I say us, I mean the US, instead of looking at the problem itself, the way
they
that
look at us.
Exactly.
So now we're the problem because your law enforcement decides to shoot and kill, and we want to voice our opinion by marching and protesting. Now we're the problem, and you're going to give people the right to defend themselves against peaceful protesters, and then you're going to lock us up.
Ain't it crazy?
So also, and I want to say this, and then we really do have to move on. I feel like this, the punitive damages for First Amendment rights, first of all, and also if you feel threatened, it's like a get out of jail free card. So if there is one of these crazy militia kids down at a protest and he or she feels threatened and he shoots 2 people like we've seen happen on the West Coast during some of the protests, then this person might get out of jail free. You felt threatened. So it's the same line of defense that many of these bad police officers are using, and they're extending it to the general public.
Absolutely. Which is freaking amazingly crazy. Okay, listen, let's move on because, all right. So Liz, I think that you and I may be the only 2 who have not watched Lena Waithe's them movie on, I think it's on Netflix, right? Amazon Prime, excuse me. And I've seen the previews. Have you seen the previews, Liz?
I haven't, but after I read it, like I don't watch scary stuff anyways, if I'm being honest. I was the girl who was in 6th grade and couldn't watch Little Mermaid at night because of Ursula, so I'm good. Thanks. Thank you.
Wow. Then
Thanks,
definitely
guys.
don't watch them.
Ursula was just ugly. She wasn't scary.
She wasn't scary. Well, she could be scary, but
girl, she didn't have on her Spanx. She was scary to me.
That is horrible. Listen, so Lena Waithe, amazingly creative mind, just released them, and she is facing some for real pushback and criticism for the graphic nature of this film. Now, Kenya and Shalette have seen it. Shalette, give us your take on this, and do you think she should be receiving this kind of backlash?
No, she shouldn't be receiving this kind of backlash, because I'm sorry, Black snowflakes out there. There is a certain amount of Black trauma and death that the general public does need to experience, because these are realistic situations that, you know, have not been documented, have not been filmed. And I think it's something that Americans in general, or the world in general, they need to witness this violence. It's horror. It's a horrible experience, and they need to see that the things that happen in this series are not out of the realm of possibility for people right now in the United States or anywhere in the world. So no, I'm not about it. And actually, she's the executive producer, I believe, of this project, and the actual the showrunner. There are a couple of scenes that are, you know, and they put up disclaimers. He said that, you know, he actually dreamt them, and, you know, and wrote them into the story. And while there's no historical reference of this happening before, it's not out of the realm of possibility, y'all. And I think it was very well done. If you are into the horror genre, in the same vein as Get Out or Us, please just go ahead and watch them. It's fine.
Kenya, what are your thoughts?
I'm a horror head, so you know, I love scary movies and things like that. I was expecting more traditional scary, you know, like ghosts popping out and things like that. You have some of that, but as Shalette mentioned, you also, and as someone else mentioned in a Facebook group that I'm in about the series, racism itself is scary, right? It's horror enough. And so, you know, these actions that occur in the series where, you know, white folk are intentionally doing really horrible things against this Black family, it's atrocious. It's, you know, despicable, but it actually is horror. It is scary. And so a lot of people are, I don't know what they were expecting. Someone called it Black trauma porn. Okay, maybe. But again, racism and all the things that Black people have had to endure over time, like these things, even now, so not even over time, even now, it's scary and it's traumatic. And for it to be on camera, I think is putting it in the minds of people who otherwise wouldn't think these kind of things were real, or that they could happen to us, or that they do happen to us. So for little Marvin to bring it to, you know, life, I'm here for it. I actually did enjoy it. There were certain parts where I, you know, had to take a step back and do a deep breath, but for the most part, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be my thing. Is like I've read so many comments like, "Who I had to take a break, honey. I had to just woosah for a minute." I'm like, I don't know if I want something that heavy on me right now. Maybe after I come back from my mini vacation, I might, you know, delve in a little bit. But right now, I don't want that on my brain. All right. So next on our piping hot topics, or piping hot, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association kicked out its former president, Phil Burke, okay, because he decided to send an email to the association's email list, the membership, and he called the Black Lives Matter movement a racist hate movement. And so, as you all know, you know, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association has already kind of been, you know, has received some backlash because of its lack of diversity, particularly the lack of Black members. I don't think they've had a Black member in nearly 2 decades, which is, I don't even know how that is happening. I don't. Right? And so, I mean, I don't know what there's a whole bunch to say, but Liz, you work somewhat in, you know, obviously fashion, but that also intertwines with entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And can you, I mean, it's crazy to see once again that we're still experiencing firsts and associations who are not diverse in this 2021.
It is crazy. The crazier part is that I, in my research, found out that Philip Burke is from Cape Town, South Africa, and that one of his books is about his journey from South Africa. And it's called, in the tagline, it's something like Darkest Moments in Africa to the Hollywood Lights. And I read some of the Amazon reviews, and the first person's like, waste of time. Second person is like, you know, life-changing. And I just think that the whole thing is an ego trip. You know, you came from South Africa. You've seen what shanty towns look like. You know what I mean? Like you have seen that with your own eyes by where you come from. So for you to think that people fighting for their rights and fighting just to be called equal, like that's the thing I don't think people understand about Black Lives Matter. Nobody's saying that we matter more. We're just saying, hey, the breath in my body matters as well. So I think it's despicable. But we do have a very long way to go. And I think that the more that we continue to see that and call organizations out for their lack of diversity, the better we're all going to be.
Yeah. Absolutely. Totally agree. Once again, I mean, we still have a long way to go. We do. Kenya, I know, you know, you are, you know, a part of the press. So, I mean, what is your take on this?
Not surprised at all, considering Mr. Burke's background. And honestly, I was kind of encouraged by the Golden Globes, by their, you know, Hollywood Foreign Press, rather. I was encouraged by their swift response to give him the boot. We didn't even have to have an investigation, or maybe he meant it this way. No, they politely just say, hey, can you get out? But the question still remains, what are they going to do to increase more Black members among their ranks? It's one thing to, you know, go against a member who obviously stated some really nasty things about Black Lives Matter and, you know, that, and, you know, respond to that. But again, what are they doing to increase Black membership among their association? That's what I want to know.
All right, cool beans. Now let's go and wrap this piping hot up, honey. We are a stage and panel of Black women. And, you know, we can get a little heated, and we don't back down easily when we feel like we got to, you know, straighten somebody. Okay. So Representative Val Demings, okay, we'll start with her, got into a shout match with Representative Jordan because they were talking about, I guess he made a police statement, a statement about the police. And, you know, obviously Val Demings has a long history, obviously, because she was with the department for 20 years. Honey, she was not having it, okay? She let Representative Jordan have it.
Lives every day. They deserve better. And the American people deserve. I have the floor, Mr. Jordan. What, did I strike a nerve?
Shalette, what was the issue?
Well, I think they were just talking about you know, the police hearings in general. And I actually I've seen headlines about how some Republicans nationally are trying to organize a march in response to the Derek Chauvin conviction. So, you know, she basically, you know, had to call him out on the carpet. And anytime a Black woman tries to correct a white man, you know, in any position of power, there's going to be an issue. So that's all this is. Val Demings, and just a week ago, Maxine Waters was doing the same thing. So this guy he's a clown. He's I wouldn't even say he's an under the radar clown, but he definitely knows who his base is, and he panders to them.
Kenya?
I mean, dude, you picking a fight with Val Demings? Come on. This woman has almost 30 years of law enforcement experience as a police officer and as a chief, right? So she's worked her way up the ladder. So for him to come at her talking about, you can't be using police officers as pawns, you know, and she's trying to, during this hearing where she's trying to get some clarification on something, ridiculous. And then the way that he went about doing it, she's speaking, and then he interjects loudly and wrongly his opinion about something. Dude, come on. No way. He had it coming. So he's lucky that she's pretty reserved as she is. Otherwise, he might have felt the force.
Yeah, I know that's right. And Liz, let's talk about Auntie Maxine, honey. Okay, so people were like, you know, trying to get on her for, you know, what she said about people staying to the streets. Like, I mean, what was wrong with what she said?
Nothing. Not one thing.
I was trying to figure it out.
She said what she said, and people are not used to. Let me be 100. I feel my whole inner Black woman coming out. Okay, people are not used to Black women saying what they're gonna say, and you're gonna leave it right where it is.
To respect the chair and shut your mouth.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Period.
You're going to leave it right where it is because there is nothing else to say. When she told him to shut his mouth, that's exactly what he should have done. Leave it right there. Be quiet, sir. She said what she said. And honestly, Auntie Maxine, like, she has been through some things. She knows how to show up. She understands all of the intricacies behind the scenes that a lot of us have not seen. You know what I mean? And so honestly, I have to roll with Auntie Maxine on whatever she's saying, honestly, because she has the wisdom to say it. And she's not trying to lead us as a people somewhere where we don't want to go. All of our elders are trying to lead us in a way because they've seen this before. They lived through Jim Crow. They're not trying to have their children and their great-grandchildren live through the same thing.
Absolutely. Great close. Great close. All right, ladies, we are like way over time, but I think it was super necessary for us to get this conversation out. I appreciate you all. We will see you next week for another episode of Mocha in the Morning. See you later, Mocha Marvel sisters.
Only 2 more episodes left, guys.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Just 2. All right, we'll be right back with more Mocha in the Morning. Don't you go anywhere.
The views and opinions expressed on Mocha in the Morning are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official position of the show, its producers, staff, and sponsors.
Your Mocha Minute is brought to you by Black in Florida, your online connection to everything that's Black in Florida.
Hey, Mocha Marvels, don't you go anywhere, because coming up next, we have a bold roast with lifestyle blogger Quinn Brewington, also known as Sister Lady Girl, right after this. Good morning, Mocha Marvels, and do I have a bold roast for you today? We have the fabulous LaQuinda Brewington, also known as Sister Lady Girl, on the show today. And do we have some scoop for you? So let's start brewing this bold roast. Good morning, Sister Lady Girl.
Good morning. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
It is so great having you on the show finally, and it was like super great timing. First of all, we met for the very first time at the Florida Bloggers Conference.
Yep, Florida BlogCon.
Did we not have a fabulous time?
Oh my gosh. I saw you and I was like, oh, I'm leaving with a new friend today. For real.
I was like, the same way. And I thought it was really awesome the way there was like a very vibrant group of us that kind of instantly connected during that conference. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that completely. It was so much fun.
Well, the main thing, I've been watching your career kind of take off since then. And I'm like, I really need to absolutely reach out to her because you are doing some amazing things. First of all, you also go by Sister Lady Girl, which is the name of your blog.
Yes.
How'd you come up with that?
You know, it was a name that my husband and I have always joked about because Sister Lady Girl is somebody who is very spunky. She's every woman. She's, you know, every facet of womanhood, really. And we would see somebody who would be out in public and we'd be like, oh, look at that Sister Lady Girl right there. And I was like, man, that is such a cool name. And so that's how it kind of came about through conversation with my husband.
Oh, look at our dynamic duo.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's talk about your blog. Now, how long have you been blogging? And give us the meat and potatoes of your actual blog.
Well, right now my blog is all about women over 40, and it's all about giving them inspiration, motivation, education to really go into the second half of their lives with more peace and ease. And it didn't initially start that way, though. It actually started with as a hair blog. I used to wear my natural hair very curly, and people would always come up to me and ask me questions about it. I think I had curly hair when I actually met you, and now I have locks. But people used to ask me about it all the time. And I told my husband, I was like, oh, I'm just going to start a blog. And whenever anyone asks me a question, I'm going to say, go to sisterladygirl.com. And so it sort of evolved over time. And here we are today.
You started about pretty much answering questions about your hair. So you didn't have to like verbally do that anymore.
Yes.
But now, like you said, your blog has evolved. And it's beautiful and it's deep, girl. I mean, you are super targeting a demographic, you know, of women. And I love it.
Thank you. Well, you know, there are 52 million Gen X women in the US. And I am just like, you know, we're in this kind of in-between stage in that we are not the same type of 40 and 50-year-olds that our mothers were. And I've heard from friends over and over again that, you know, once we get into these middle years, how disconnected they start to feel, how unsure that they start to feel. And I was like, man, if I'm feeling it, if my friends are feeling it, then certainly other people are feeling it as well. And so I just wanted to create something, a safe space for us to all talk about how we felt about aging.
That's awesome. Now, let's get into, and actually, you know what? I don't even think this is your second act because your first act was when you started your blog. And then your blog evolved. That's act 2. So we're more like act 3. But just for the sake of, we don't want to like confuse anybody. Let's talk about this summit. When I saw it, I was like, you better work. First of all, just by looking at it, like all the like the graphics, like all the artwork, just the way you digitally presented this event just looks amazing. And then I went in and looked at the people that you had that were like your keynote speaker and your other speakers and your other guests.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that, girl. You need to let all these Mocha Marbles know.
Yeah, well, I have an amazing lineup of women who have reached their 40s, who are about to reach their 40s, and they've all been through something, right? And so that was the thing that was most important to me. The summit is actually coming up on April 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we've got a powerhouse collection of women who have come on board to speak life into these women who have signed up for the summit. We've got about 400 registered right now. We've got a few more days to go. So I am just blown away by the response to, you know, what is going on and people who are interested in learning more about what aging gracefully really means right now. So we're super excited and we're ready.
Congratulations to you. Because that just shows, you know, just the quality of your content and just the way you really have been able to like reach out to everyone
Absolutely.
who blogs and follow you all over social media. You're creating some really beautiful, some beautiful stuff. Let's talk about that little journey. And sometimes it has its little bumps, and then sometimes, it has its fireworks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, let me preface this by saying that nobody does it alone. And I have had some amazing people who have stepped in to help me create these beautiful websites and all of these wonderful words that you see. I'm a writer by trade, but I can't do it all. So I've had some really cool people step in to help me, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that.
So, and this is the second act, and it's this Saturday, April the 24th, starting at 11 a.m.
Yep, the Second Act Summit, and we are ready to go. We've got a wonderful keynote speaker in Natasha Main, and we've got wellness panels. We've got a business panel, and then we've got a panel where we're going to be talking about self-love and moving into this season, just loving yourself and being confident in the woman that you're becoming. So it's exciting.
Now, and then it's not too late to sign up for the conference. So where can you go or for the summit? So where can you go to sign up?
Okay, so you go to sisterladygirl.com/the-second-act-summit/. Say that 3 times fast.
or even better, where can everyone find you? And then you can just slide all that into their DMs.
Absolutely. I am at Sister Lady Girl on all of the socials. You can find me most often on Instagram because that's just where I hang out. But I'm also very active on Facebook, and we've got a private Facebook group for those who are coming to the summit as well, the Second Act Summit Society. So if you're interested in joining, please do.
You know what? Congratulations. I am so happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm sure that Saturday summit is only going to be yet like another beginning for you, because I can just already see what the future has in store. Again, it is Sister Lady Girl, Quinn Brewington. Do not miss it. It's this Saturday. Thank you so much for being on the show. Congratulations. Is there anything that you want to tell our Mocha Marvels out there?
I just want to say that 40 is not the beginning of the end. It is the beginning. And I just want people who are going into their second act, and some men too, to know that, there's a lot ahead of us, and to just embrace it and roll with it. It's going to be great. I promise.
All right, welcome, Marvas. It's been another wonderful Friday. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in for Mocha in the Morning, where we're adding a little flavor to your morning blend. But don't keep it all to yourself. Invite some friends and family. Like us on all platforms on Mocha Morning Show. Listen, we have 2 more shows for this episode. Oh, he's showing us his shirt. What does it say, Jorge?
It says, liberté, legalité, and humanité.
That's right, all the tays, baby. We want it all. We want all the tays. All right, listen, we love you all. Be safe. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Spread love. Say hi to a stranger. It doesn't hurt you.
And thank you.
Enjoy life.
Thank you so much to Sister Lady Girl.
Yes,
Sister Lady
Girl.
Bold Rose. I hope everyone can make it to her event, the Second Act, sponsored by Ford. Congratulations to her and all of her fabulousness.
Absolutely. All right. We will see you soon. Oh, and don't forget, look, if you guys like my haircut, which Jorge always, compliments me. Thank you, boo. Coco the Barber in Tampa, Florida. She's hosting Utopia, which is a natural hair expo on May 2nd.
Yes.
So get your tickets and come on out, because it will be a great, great time. Don't miss it.
Yeah. I want to see what Coco can do with all this.
Oh, honey, she'll get you right now. All right, y'all. See you later.
Oh my goodness, I almost forgot.
What?
Stop that beat.
Boom.